Oh, what's up? How are you guys?
Good. They can't hear you, Rob.
Oh, they can't hear me? Why can't they hear me?
Because they're watching this in the future.
Oh, well, they can still answer. All right, today we got a new build in the shop. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, looks like it's already built. And it is. So let me back up a little bit and give you a little history on this Jeep. So about 5 years ago, a customer came to us, said, hey, I want a V8 and I want ORIs. Okay, let's do it. But he wasn't quite ready to pull the trigger on the full super build suspension. So what we did was that we did an AMW 392 swap. And if I sneeze during this video, I apologize. It's that time of year. So there you can see the 6.4 Hemi under the hood. It's fine. It's holding itself up. So we did a AMW 6.4 swap, and we did 12-inch ORIs. So basically we used our ORI towers on the frame, our Gen 1 stuff. So it was all old school stuff. And then we had to build, he had already had the UD60s under it, so we built brackets for that while utilizing the rock crawler suspension. So fast forward a couple more years, and he comes to us and wants aluminum aluminum control arms. So we built some control arms to fit the rock crawler suspension. And then he's actually from Florida, I may have already said this, or that's where they primarily live. He was having some issues with the rear axle, and so he had a shop out in that area do an East Coast Gear Dana 80. And I think at the same time they did the 8-speed transmission swap. So it's now got the 6.4 Hemi, 8-speed transmission, and an East Coast Gear Dana 80 in the rear. Still has a UD60 up front. So now we're up to speed. He calls a couple months ago and says, hey, I'm ready to pull the trigger. Let's do this. So now we're gonna take it all back apart and put all of our super build suspension underneath it. So it'll have the flat belly, the newest rear tower and cross member setup, 2 1/4 aluminum control arms, Generac gas tank. I think that's about it. But before we can do all of that, we need to get this thing in the air and give it a good once over. I'll kind of show you guys what we are working with, what's already on here. But we want to look it over real good and make sure we find anything that needs to be addressed while we're here and get that taken care of so the customer has no issues when he leaves here. So before we get it up in the air, I'll show you. Some of you haven't seen our old Gen 1 setup. So if you look in here, first thing you'll notice is the towers they look different than what you've seen recently. I don't know if I can open this up. Now that it's all So anyway, if you poke your heads up in there, you'll see, though we still boxed everything in, we have that crossbar in there to support the upper section of the strut towers. And essentially what we've done is created that cross member assembly and boxed in the bottom side to eliminate the need for that upper tube. That just gives you more room inside, really. We've got a couple of guys that still want to run that crossbar, and I get it. You know, they're jumping it and stuff. They're worried about it deflecting. We haven't had any issues out of that, but so anyway, we're going to upgrade the rear to that latest cross member setup because I believe it's stronger. The front, we're not going to mess with the towers up front. We're going to get to leave those all alone. Yeah, so let's get this thing in the air. So, like I said, this Jeep's already got some decent goodies underneath it. It's got the UD60 up front. It's definitely been hacked on and cut on and welded on, and you know, needs some love, needs some TLC. First thing I notice is the PSC RAM is leaking right there. Looks like that seal is bad, so I'm gonna recommend that we have that rebuilt. The customer was complaining, and I can see it, of a coolant leak, and I can see where coolant's been running down that lower radiator hose there. So that's something we'll want to address. Probably just something as simple as a hose clamp, but we'll address that. So we'll likely end up cutting all the bracketry off of this axle and starting from scratch on it. No big deal. Somebody's already hacked the upper control arm mount off of this side. I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe it was getting into some things, so that may be something we have to address on that end of things. With the America's Most Wanted stuff, or engine, they provide their own motor mounts instead of like Bruiser utilizes the factory motor mounts. Obviously, with doing a flat belly, we're gonna have to redo the exhaust. So basically from here and here back is all gonna have to be custom. We'll see what all that gets into. It's got cats, resonators. I don't know. This one's got a bung in it that's welded up, no O2 sensor. So it looks like it just has upstreams, no downstream O2 sensors. So we don't have anything there to deal with. So we'll see. We may end up hacking that out. A lot of what we have been doing on the at least the 6.6 swaps is a resonator to the Pro XS muffler. I'll get with the customer and find out exactly what he wants. It does appear that we've got a transmission leak or maybe a transfer case leak here. Everything's real wet here, so that's something we're going to need to address while we're in here. It looks like the America's Most Wanted has an adapter for the transfer case. I don't know. It's all wet up there, so we'll have to, once we get that apart. Obviously, with doing our suspension and the 4-link, we're getting rid of the factory fuel tank. So this will be completely gone. We're putting a rear-mounted Genrite tank in it so that we can get everything tucked up nice and tight. Evap canister's gonna have to go somewhere else as well. That's just not gonna work for us. And as you can tell, this is a 3-link rear. Pretty popular for rock crawler to do 3-link stuff. Like I said, we rebuilt all of these arms several years ago. So I'm hopeful to be able to reuse as many of the joints as possible. We'll probably rebuild them all, but at least reuse the main parts of the joints. And then obviously we'll have to order new lower links. We're getting those from Summit these days. They're just making a really good product for us, so that's why we went with them. Again, exhaust, all that stuff's going to be in the way because our upper mounts are going to be up in here. As you can, now that we're under here, you can kind of come back here and see some of our old school ways of doing things. What we would do is we would weld this plate in first and then cut the frame out to keep the frame from separating. And then we would weld our tower in. And our towers at that time were kind of like 3-piece towers. We just got smarter, that's all. It will be a little bit interesting to install the new stuff due to the fact that we normally would be able to set the new cross member in, weld it into place, then cut the frame in half so that it doesn't go anywhere. Can't really do that because there's already towers here. So we'll have to do some rigging to keep the frame together while we cut all that stuff apart. As you guys also know, we'll take the body completely off. We have all of our frames powder coated when we're done, just so that they last for a long time. As you can tell, this wasn't. That's why it's all rusty. Paint just eventually wears off of that. So, yeah. Here's our East Coast Gear Dana 80. We will be hacking these brackets off. There's just no need for them to hang that low. So we'll hack them off. All of our geometry puts everything up out of the way nice and tight. We are also going to go through the ORIs, so you guys will want to be paying attention for that. We'll probably do a separate video on that. We're going to tear them apart, inspect them, put new fluids in them, recharge them, anything that needs to be done to them while we're while we're in there. So going to the 4-link, triangulated, we'll be getting rid of a track bar so we can cut all that stuff off. And while we're here, there's quite a bit of tidying up to do, I can tell, just with wiring and stuff. So we'll get all that cleaned up, make it looking real clean. New brake lines, get them off the frame here. They'll go up to upper control arms. So yeah, not quite a full super build at this point, but it's basically a full super build. We're not doing a cage or anything. We are doing OA rock sliders on it, so those will be good. Yeah.
The Rock Banger 9000.
The Rock Banger 9000. Of course, we got to cut all the rock crawler stuff off, which thankfully it's pretty simple, and a lot of the stuff's been cut off the frame for us already, so that's nice. We'll just have some small bracketry to cut off. Not a ton of cleanup, thankfully. Wow, these hoses need to be addressed too. Those are no bueno. That's tight, real tight. I would venture to say that's our limiting strap right now. Yeah. What is?
Oh. Oh, no.
Yeah. So I'm gonna recommend we put new longer hoses on.
What is?
Yeah.
What? Why?
I don't know. They are. They're like, it's strange.
What?
Real strange. Huh. Anyway. Okay. That's where we're at. It's time to put it back on the ground, start disassembling all the stuff on the top side so we can get the body apart. But before I do that, I'm gonna go make a list of all the things I found so that I can let the customer know. Before any of the work we are going to do this round, when we originally built this, it was on 40s, so my primary goal right now is to kind of determine what's rubbing, what needs to be adjusted, how much things need to move around, so that when we have minimal adjustments that have to be made for the 42s. We don't typically, our super builds don't typically get these big wide fenders, so that's going to change a little bit. But anyway, so I'm just going to kind of give it a good once over, see if anything's rubbing, anything's in the way. Yes, I'm still all stopped up, but I'm alive, so that's good. And then, yeah, we'll just make notes of all that, put it back down, and start ripping this thing apart.
So 41?
41.
Got it.
So, like I was saying earlier, not only are we running a wider fender, but a bigger tire than when we originally built the suspension. So it took, to get that passenger tire to not rub the fender anymore, it took this shaft collapsing 4 inches essentially to come off of that. So we'll have to do some playing with it. We may end up having to change the upper strut tires out. This one may get kind of custom. So, yeah. Fun stuff. What the?
But wait.
You're on film, don't cuss. Ooh. So, if you guys want to come in here and look at this. I'm not really sure what's going on yet, but you see this gap here? It's even all the way around, which leads me to believe that maybe the bore is wrong on these adapters, and the wheel won't go over it all the way. But that's not correct.
And I'm under it, brother.
People that ride on my lids need to get fired. This, normally I would just be able to unhook the factory stuff, because usually we're dealing with pretty stock Jeeps. This one's had a lot of hands on it over the years, you can tell, and so a lot of wiring in places that I don't really know what it's for, where it goes, so I'm just trying to take extra caution. I think like typically you should be able to have the body off in like 45 minutes, but probably
4 hours.
I'm probably a couple hours. Well, come on now, guys, don't let Ricky lie to you. I have other things to do too, other than just work on this. So probably about half my day's been spent up in the office, sitting behind a computer. So yeah, I would say I'm about 2 hours deep into this, maybe 3, but I'm getting close. And then before we can do anything though, I've got to cut the crossbar out from inside before we can lift the body off. So there's still a couple hours worth of work to do. Being cautious, marking things as I take things apart. Like that's my rear locker. The front locker's right here. Goes up to the S-Pod. I'm not trying to knock whoever worked on this Jeep before us, but this right here, this is not acceptable. Don't be lazy. Put it in wire loom. Tape it up. Make it look good. Drives me nuts. Anyway, here's another thing. Like, just random wires. What does that even go to?
It's there to upset you.
Yeah, and it is.
I do it all the time.
Literally, you put
I just run random wires
to upset me?
Yeah.
I have no idea. No.
It's a cool prank people.
It goes into the front bumper, I think. So is it like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the bumper wiring for the bumper. You want me to get it for you?
No, I'll figure it out. That kind of stuff drives me bananas. All right, guys, we got the body off, and I'll be honest with you, this is not a dig at anybody by any means, but the wiring, there's a lot going on here. Typically when we tear one of these apart, it's a lot more factory and not a lot of hands have touched it, which this isn't a problem at all, but when you're wondering why it costs so much for us to do one of these builds, take a good look at this versus what it's gonna look like when we're done. The amount of wiring that's just all over the place, stuff that's not hooked to anything anymore. I mean, there's literally just random wires all over the place. We're gonna clean all that up. So kind of the next step for us is to get the motor and transmission out of it, and then start stripping axles off of it and get the gas tank out of it. Just basically get the frame stripped down so that it's ready for us to start cutting bracketry off and getting it cleaned up for the super build parts. The rear towers are going to be a little bit trickier than normal. I think though I can basically leave this tower here, cut all my stuff out, lay the new tower in there, get it tacked into place before I cut these out. I hope that's my goal. Otherwise we're gonna have to build some sort of rigging to keep the frame all together, so that it doesn't just fall apart. Excuse me. Basically when we're done with it, it's not gonna look anything like this. Not at all. we do have some things to address. It's got a transmission leak that I can't really tell where it's coming from yet. It's down bottom, maybe the pan, hopefully nothing on like a rear seal back here, but something's leaking there. And then it has a coolant leak. It looks like a hose was leaking. Looks like this lower hose, was leaking out of the, where it goes into the engine. So yeah, you know, just a lot of cleanup to do at this point. So take a bunch of pictures of it so we remember where the majority of it went. Some of it we're gonna move around. Evap canister is gonna come over here under the skid plate to make room for the 4-link. It's currently a 3-link. We're gonna have to redesign the front stuff a little bit, at least a truss for the axle. The rear, I think we can use the truss that's there for the upper mounts, and then we'll rebuild the lower mounts. But yeah, once we get it all stripped down and cleaned up, you guys know the drill. Put all our new brackets on it, powder coat it, and this thing will last him forever. I mean, you can see he's from Florida, and you can see all the rust on it. So powder coating this thing is gonna really help him a lot. I'm not sure, we may end up reworking these towers. I'm hopeful not to yet, but we'll see. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's what the next video will be like. So we gotta get this thing tore down. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll see you guys out there.
Out in the wild, we're free. In the dust, we find our destiny. No fear in this warrior's heart. In this off-road world, we are the part. Off-road addiction, where legends are made.